folks. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. I know. The breaks are too long. I've heard plenty of that. Thanks for the emails. But, you know what? We're busy here. There's a lot going on with the new team here in Indianapolis, and there's just a lot of planning and a lot of events, and gosh, it just doesn't leave much time for a show, does it, Brett?
No, it doesn't. And in this situation, I'm starting a new job. My hours suck balls.
Yeah, well, that'll hurt too.
I mean, using today as an example, worked a nice 13-hour day. Talking on the phone, so I had plenty of time to work on my vocal cords for tonight's show.
You may not have any vocal cords left. I mean, we'll
Rubbing
see.
them a bit raw here,
Now that they're bright red.
It's like I wonder why I had a sore throat these past couple weeks. What the heck? I'm going back to school here in the fall, so hopefully it won't be. It'll only be for a short term.
Is that for your doctorate?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
What are you going to get that in?
Phys ed. No.
You can be a high school phys ed teacher.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
No, I'm going back for IT.
IT. Well, that's a smart. You'll be able to build us a better website when you get out.
That's the plan, yeah.
All right. I like this plan. It's sounding better to me each time.
Who cares about a permanent job? I'm looking for our side job.
Yes. Well, IT's a hot thing out there right now. All right. But, you know what? Let's get into the lineup. The roster that JK picked, Jurgen Klinsmann picked for the upcoming friendlies versus Germany and Belgium, and of course the qualifier coming up June 11th versus Panama, right, in Seattle. And okay,
now, is this roster also included with the other two qualifiers? I believe, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he can call in some other players and drop some players from the roster and stuff like that. Right. Obviously, not all 99 players that he called up for this camp is going to be included with the qualifier, but I would imagine that the bulk of the starters at least will be.
Yeah, there's no way all these guys make. Yeah. Obviously, there's a limit on your roster here, so he's called up everybody and their mother.
Now, some of them might be called back up come July for the Gold Cup.
Yes.
That's a possibility.
And I think that's why we've got this vast field in front of us here.
Yeah.
And really, it's not all that shocking. The names of, most of these guys we know very well. They've been called up before. So, there's really not a whole lot to add, except for maybe some recent additions. Brad Evans, right? And Corey Ash, of all two people.
Interesting call-ups.
Yeah.
I thought we had enough of Brad Evans from the last call-up.
I did too, but maybe
he did okay at right back.
Sure.
Absolutely dreadful in the middle. So I'm assuming that he's being called up mainly for right back depth for the friendlies, and then we'll see on because with Chandler and Trundle still on the injured list, I guess our depth at right back is sort of limited, and we're most likely going to see Cameron playing back at right back again.
That's what I think. And then you keep Gonzalez and Bessler in the middle, right?
Yeah, of course.
And then the way Beasley played last time out, there's no reason at all that he doesn't get a shot. Maybe you get a chance to move Fabian Johnson up to midfield.
It would be interesting, given the fact that our width in this lineup, and I guess in our pool as a whole, is pretty limited.
Yeah. Well, not according to Jurgen Klinsmann.
Well, it's limited given the people he had to call up for our width.
Well, Jurgen Klinsmann seems to think we're doing some wonderful things in development on the wings in a recent interview that he gave, when presented with the information that, why, or the question, I should say, why not call up this guy named Landon Donovan? And he said, hey, we got Breck Shea, man. We got Breck Shea, and we've got Graham Zusi. Okay, Graham's been playing okay. I don't mind that. But please don't use Breck Shea as your backup or your argument to answer that question. Please don't.
And even if Breck Shea is included in his argument, who else is there? We got Kleshin, who's been his entire history with the United States men's national team has been absolutely dreadful on the wings. I don't know why we continue to try to play him there. He does not play well internationally there.
No.
I mean, we have Holden, who's just come back from his injury, and he's gotten some games with his club team's reserves, and I think he even cracked the team towards the end of the season there.
Right.
Who's technically not even a wing player anyways, although depending on your formation, like with Bob Bradley, I mean, I thought he was utilized perfectly at the quote-unquote wing position on his 4-2-2-2.
Yeah.
But given Klinsmann's formation of his lineups in history, I don't think Holden would be utilized best out wide.
Well, and that's all those being good
points. I will say Holden's crossing ability has, at least historically, been pretty damn good.
Well, so you by adding Beasley or keeping Beasley on this roster and then having, Fabian Johnson, that gives you some options if you really want to play wide. It gives you some speed. You can play either one of them at sort of that left midfield spot if you have to.
I guess you still have, in that situation, you still have Castillo as a backup for either left back or left mid.
That's
in that
true.
Situation.
So there's
it does offer him a little bit of room to toy around with if he has to.
Yeah, if he's going to keep all three, I just can't see that happening. And the way Castillo's been playing recently for the U.S. International, I don't know. I think
he's been hit or miss with me. He really has been.
Yeah, I'm more comfortable with Beasley at this point.
An example of sort of like Shea, it's sort of like his time with the United States men's national team has been more of like a 50-50. When he gets the ball, he's either going to do something really nice with it, or he's going to flub it up real bad.
And he plays well for his club team generally. Obviously, he wouldn't
be
playing.
Why he's in the call.
Yeah, he wouldn't be playing. But then again, now you're talking Breck Shea, right? Now we're talking about a guy that hasn't even played but 2 games, who Tony Pulis said was not ready to play at the Premiership level, and that he was actually they brought him to Stoke City as part of a long-term development plan.
As well as he should be.
Yeah. So, and then I think it was Steve Davis wrote an article, and I happen to agree with every word of it. Breck Shea's still moving the wrong way for Stoke and the United States. So, this is what irritates me about Jurgen Klinsmann. His comments are totally, it's hypocritical. He says, all right, well, you have to be playing for your club, and then he says Breck Shea isn't playing for his club, and that is hurting him internationally. And then you go ahead and add him to the roster in, I think, an effort in every way to tell Landon Donovan, yeah, that vacation, I know I said it didn't really make that big of a difference, but F you, it did. And so I don't care how well your comeback's been. I don't care if you've been playing 90 minutes recently. Yeah, just go sit on the bench some more. Or you're not playing for this. We're not calling you up. Regardless of the fact, there's no way in hell that Breck Shea is a better pick at the wing spot than Landon Donovan. Sorry, just isn't.
Well, I can't disagree with that thought process. There's no way I would pick Shea over Donovan any time of the week.
I take Donovan in his beard, and when he was out there camping in Oregon, and hadn't played soccer for 2 months, I take that Donovan over Breck Shea currently.
Well, and I will say this: it's not the Shea over Donovan argument that's really annoying me, but we have options at wing that were called up, not necessarily worthwhile when it comes to when you have the option of calling up Donovan. And I really think the snub here is more of yes, I know I said that it did. You'd have a spot waiting for you when you get back, but it was more of a just sort of tongue in cheek to an extent. It's sort of like, yeah, this is what you want to say to the press, but that's not what you're necessarily feeling in this situation.
Yeah. Well,
so I think it did rub Klinsmann the wrong way that he took so long to come back to the national team. There was a time where he was injured for quite a bit, but then all of a sudden he was healthy and ready to play. But he was like, I'm taking an international and club break. But he came back and he's doing well. And so, I can't imagine what his reason to exclude him outside of saying, you didn't, where's the pride? Why didn't you stick with the national team,
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like he was he embraced the idea of Landon taking a break and said he understood. And now it's kind of he's like I said, it's hypocritical based on his own standards for making the team. I'm not irritated necessarily about Landon Donovan versus Brek Shea. I'm more irritated by the hypocrisy of what it stands for, the Brek Shea pick. To me, it's hypocrisy. He says one thing and he does another. And I don't like that. And so I want to, if you're going to tell me, and he literally says in the interview that Landon Donovan is behind several other people in various positions he's qualified to play. I find that startlingly to be just complete crap when we're talking about the wings. It may be true at the forward position, but it's not true out on the wings. I'm sorry, I don't know what Klinsmann is smoking, but that is just not a rational statement at all.
I hear that statement, and I don't think it's necessarily a quality based off of talent. I think it's based off of pecking order at this point, because Donovan did, for a while there, it's like, I need to take a break, I need to take a relax. And it was during the time where, the U.S. was needing him to, help in qualification. And it made Klinsmann's position a little shaky at points, because for the longest time, actually, since Donovan's been here, the team has really utilized his strengths that he brings to the team.
Then don't say...
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and then...
Klinsmann is a cheerleader when it comes to the press. He says exactly what a manager should say, the very PC thing. He doesn't necessarily take a stand on it. He says exactly what the media wants to hear.
But he sounds like an ass doing it because it's completely... It's not honest.
I agree.
It's not honest.
Completely. Yeah. He comes back and bites him on this, and people notice it. And that's the thing. If you read a lot of what people are posting on certain blogs, or on just normal fans that are posting on the comment section of those blogs, you'll note that people are recognizing not only the hypocrisy behind it, but it's just the fact that it's wrong in this situation. I mean, these are important qualifiers coming up here.
Yeah.
I don't care. Donovan's done a lot for the U.S. national team. If he needed to take a break, take his break.
Yeah.
He's ready to come back. He's playing well for LA Galaxy. There's no reason why he shouldn't be called in right now. Hey, you know what? Call him in, and then start somebody else over top of him. Bring him in as a sub. Work him back into the national team, but give him a call up.
Mm-hmm. Let's be honest here. No, Donovan was not suffering from any physical ailment, although he did express that his body was breaking down. So, okay, we can add that down. We can add physical fatigue on top of mental fatigue. Those are real things. Players have to eventually... The guy played nonstop soccer for 3 years straight. He needed a break. His body needed a break, and his brain needed a break. That's nothing to punish a player for. And to me, what Klinsmann's doing here, this is straight up punishment, because there's no bearings in any rational thought to pick somebody like Brek Shea ahead of, or even, I'm sorry, I love Stuart Holden, I'm glad he's getting a shot here, but if you're talking about wings, you're going to pick a guy who's just getting back into the game after injury. So what I'm saying here is, it's okay if you take a break if you're injured, but if you take a break because you're fatigued, whether mentally or physically, you're just considered a sellout wussy. And I think that's not fair. At least I don't think it's fair, and that's why I think Klinsmann here is just full of BS. That's my comment.
It's an interesting situation we have here, because it reminds me of a couple of situations that have occurred under Klinsmann's tenure. I mean, I recall a time where, as a whole, Josie hasn't necessarily performed as far as scoring goals under Klinsmann. Although I can go off on a long rant here as far as why Josie isn't scoring goals.
And it's not all Josie's fault.
It's not all Josie's fault, people.
Yep.
I'm not going to get into this. That's a completely different, entire new
topic.
Vidcast here.
Yeah.